Welcome once again to Hunter's Entertainment on Twitch.tv. My name is Noxweiler Burf, and I am your game master and guide through a dark and challenging world of survival horror. Tonight, as we do every Tuesday night, we are playing Outbreak Undead. This game is not for the faint of heart, and I, as the game master, have confirmed consent with each and every one of my players. Our lines and veils have been very firmly drawn, and we have safety protocols in place to assist and protect absolutely everyone at the table. We ask you for your consent as well. We encourage you to read the content warnings very closely. This game offers us all opportunities to explore dark themes and to shine a light onto the human condition in the safe confines of our imagination. But that doesn't happen without the bravery and support of each and every one of you. You see, in this game, not every character is being played with the same objectives and motivations. Some are working directly against one another. Some are in communication with outside forces that are quite dangerous. And others, well, they're bringing with them a threat that is wholly hidden and unknown to the others. In this world, there are no magical swords that can save you. You won't discover them in a treasure pile left behind. There are no valiant knights or castle walls to hide behind. The dangers in this world of post-apocalyptic survival, it's far worse than that of dragons, fantasy, and magic. This world wears a face that is familiar to all of you, though it is a face that died long ago, leaving behind only the echo, the dying gasp of a civilization that surrounds us today. Still, in the greatest darkness, hope burns the brightest. I would like to thank both JB Jara and Alex Hillman and the entire Hunters team for helping us to make this campaign possible. Without their steadfast and endless support, we simply would not be here tonight. We would also ask that each and every one of you sign up for the Scry program in our panels below. There, you can engage with the communities of the apocalypse directly. You can take on the role of a survivor yourself and help to divert resources and goods to where you think they are most needed. Your choices, once there, will be the difference between life and death to the settlements within the Rag and Bone universe and to the players in tonight's game. Everything that you decide to do or decide not to do will be tallied. It will make a difference. Our tireless Undead moderators are currently in the chat, and they're prepared to help you by answering any questions that you might have. They're there to support your effort, and we strongly encourage you to treat them with respect and consideration. They bite. Also, if you enjoy the content that we're offering you here at Hunters Entertainment, we ask, as always, to continue to make noise for us on social media. Help us to grow and bring more survivors into the fold. You'll be able to find us there across the social media landscape, waiting to interact with each and every one of you. You can join our Discord and connect with others that you feel might enjoy this particular brand of Dark Ride. Enough of all of that, however. Allow me to introduce you to the players in tonight's little nightmare. Luis, welcome back. We're glad that you're here. Would you like to talk a little bit about yourself, what you do across the internet, and who you'll be playing tonight?
Yeah, hey everybody, I'm Luis Carrazzo. I'm playing Lampwick. I'm an actor. I do TV, film, commercials, and the short film that I've been talking to you guys about over and over again, of Hearts and Castles, has been getting into some festivals, and I'll be able to, I think, talk about it next week. But there is a Los Angeles adjacent big international film festival that we got in. That's going to be our first actual one that we get to go and be in person at. So for any of you LA locals that make your way a little bit east, somewhere funnish, you'll be able to catch that short film there if you happen to go to those kinds of international film festivals. It's really cool. It's in the, I can't say what I was about to say because I'm not allowed to talk about it yet, but I can be this vague and then I can give more specifics next week. Specifics about this though, Lampwick. Lampwick is Lampwick has been with the Shepherds for a little while. He was sort of captured and then converted, maybe, I don't know. But what he definitely does well, most of the time, but sometimes not so good, is he can talk his way out of things. Primarily by tapping into something that he sees in the other person that he can maybe use to his advantage. Pre-apocalypse, he would use other people, would tap into their, loneliness and the stuff that was missing in them, and would kind of become that for them, and then get whatever he wanted out of them. But in this world where it doesn't seem like there are any good people left, he's seems to potentially be going through some sort of a change. But right now he's of course they're always in trouble. So we'll see if he survives.
A change is certainly something that Lampwick is currently undergoing, and I think we're all very interested to see where it leads him. We have two special guests with us tonight. As you may have noticed, a number of our regular survivors have not joined us. That leaves us with a very unique opportunity. And we have brought these two individuals back to us. I'm sure you'll recognize them from across the internet, but I will allow them to introduce themselves. First, Alcuin, would you like to introduce yourself, talk a little bit about what you do across the internet, and a bit about the character that you're playing tonight?
Yeah, thank you, Knox. I'm Alcuin Gersh. I am an RPG developer and streamer. You can find me on all the social media at Different Elves. It's different_elves. I do a lot of D&D content, a lot of other dark fantasy RPGs, science fiction RPGs. I am the developer of a product that's going on right now called Danse Macabre, which is a supplement for Outbreak Undead, but in a very different setting than this. It's set in Black Plague Europe of the mid-14th century. We're pretty far along in that, and we're getting ready to move into some internal play testing for it, but I hope to be able to share stuff with you from it soon. Tonight I am playing Kusanagi, who some of you may have seen before in other previous episodes. I think Alex and I'm not sure which of us has survived longer as far as guests at this point. But so yeah, if you want to put money in the chat as to which one of us meets a grisly end first, we're welcoming all comers. Kusanagi is a rag and bone media trader, specifically VHS and things from the old world before the fall in 1995. And he considers himself a keeper of mythology and is very interested in the repercussions that stories had for people in the old world and how they might inform what civilization has become. He has had a tenuous relationship with the core survivors of Rag and Bone. Doesn't necessarily trust them, but certainly sees potential in them to be something more akin to a unique ideology that is more humane than, say, something like the Citadel, where he spent a lot of time recently under Rowan's protection. So he's very happy to be out in the wilds once again in pursuit of Blockbuster's lair. But he's often pushed into doing a lot of the sort of technical stuff that he is one of the few people who still knows how to do, remembers how to fix these things. So right now he's very, very concerned with getting this ATV up and running again.
That is the most expedient way for any of you to be able to leave these woods, but as you're high in the mountains, you're without the parts that you need. We'll certainly explore how those parts might be reacquired. Alex, welcome back. We're glad that you're with us. Thank you for being here. Are you willing to talk a little bit about yourself, where you are on the internet, and
Yeah.
a little about the character that you're playing tonight?
Sure. My name is Alex Ward. I am an actor. I specialize in playing monsters and creatures and stuff like that. I also play a lot of tabletop RPGs. I love them. I play Jasper on LA by Night. I play Digger in this show though, and Digger is someone who took a very different route when the world ended. He decided that he was going to learn to live with the problem. So he found ways to walk amongst the Romeros and to try and live in sort of a coexistence, as it were, which makes him good at moving quietly and scouting and things of the like. Unfortunately, last time you saw him, he had an unfortunate run-in with a bear trap and has almost lost his whole foot. So that is where we will be picking up with him.
It certainly is an issue that's going to need to be resolved before you can move forward.
Yeah.
We're interested to see exactly how that plays out. Due to the work of you within our audience, typically, I'm able to offer our players an additional competency point. That happens when you, our audience, help us to acquire either 15 subscriptions in a week or 100 follows. I'm sad to say, for our survivors at least, that goal was not met. And so they will begin the game with a slim 3 competency points. Each of you will have the opportunity to spend those competency points, but you'll have 1 less than you normally would. Furthermore, as we are short an additional survivor, I understand that things can become very difficult for you. To remain fair, I will be allowing a certain amount of bartering with your survival points. If you have survival points, I may be persuaded to accept them in exchange for a competency point, depending on the situation that you're in and how you're willing to spend those survival points. That's all that I had to say. The road is long and it's getting dark. We should move forward. We'll be right back. The world ended on Monday, May 29th, 1995. The sky fell, and the dead would not die. Civilization quickly collapsed, and the sickness spread like lightning to even the most remote reaches of the world. They called it many things, but it started out simply as another round of the summer flu. It became something far, far worse. H1N5, commonly called the Legacy or the Reaper's Kiss, was even more deadly once those poor souls who had become infected died. After they had passed away, the virus would spread. The dead would rise. The infection took control. It brought loved ones back against those that they had been close to. Feral, mindless things with an endless hunger. Deadly intention. And vicious outcomes stretched across the world. At first, it seemed as though no one was immune to the airborne strain, but eventually it appeared that 0.01% of the population had a natural immunity to the airborne strain, but even those lucky souls couldn't withstand a concentrated introduction of the virus, whether it be through a bite or a deep scratch or blood-on-blood contact. The living were being hunted by the dead, and the dead far outnumbered the living. And so the end of days were like wildfire, and throughout the world, people desperately sought security where there was none to be had. There was no sanctuary, nowhere to run, and nowhere left to hide. Entire cities burned to the ground, but miraculously, some semblance of civilization managed to survive. And for the next 25 years, life has struggled forward. The world now is a fractured place, but some seek to make civilization anew. The Ender's Line is one such group. They are rag and bone merchants. They are travelers that make their way along the tracks of old abandoned railway stations. They connect the small scattered outposts and settlements that have cropped up across the Midwestern United States and beyond. They bring goods and services to where they are needed most. Medical supplies, water, food, everything that in a previous life was taken for granted. Now the simplest things are hard to find. The Ender's Line does the work that no one else is willing to do. They make the pathways. They seek to save others, but they also hope. They hope that civilization might still be saved from the brink of destruction. They are a lifeline in a world that now belongs entirely to the dead. The trees are creaking. It is dark. The sway of the wind pushes them. There is a gentle snapping sound somewhere in the distance. Gravedigger. The pain that is reaching up the left side of your body screams across every open nerve. You feel as if your leg is on fire. Achira did what she could, but the wound that you sustained stepping into that bear trap has hobbled you. You're lucky to have the foot still attached. You know that the bones are broken, and from what you saw, the tendons and muscle were shredded all the way down to the bone. Despite the pain, you've managed to make your way forward. You're wearing a splint that was carefully constructed by Achira. The two of you worked together. You fought through the pain. Now the shock has entirely worn off, and you've made it as far as you can from the site of the trap. You know you're not alone. These woods, the people that are hunting you and the other survivors, they're not the sort of people that take prisoners. And you've already intuited what their intentions are. They're cannibals. They're seeking meat. You are their prey. And from what you've seen, their intelligence, their understanding of their environment, it's admirable. They know where they are, and you and all of your companions are outsiders here. You use your shovel now to prop yourself up. You're not able to put any pressure on the foot itself, and despite the splint, every time you try, a lightning bolt of pain shoots across your body. You're leaning against a tree. You've allowed yourself to take a very short breath. You've assessed the area, and you think you're clear. I would like for you to make 2 rolls for me, please, Digger.
All right.
The first roll that I would like for you to make is a resist pain roll.
All right. Pain. 1 success.
1 success is enough. You've managed to fight past this. You feel confident that you're going to be able to make it out. It's just going to take a little maneuvering down a very steep and rocky cliffside.
Right.
The second roll that I would like for you to make is a spot listen.
All right. Is it possible for me to use my recon gear for this?
It is. And as you lean against the tree, you move through your packs and find your recon gear. What is in the pack?
In my pack, I've got a pair of kind of busted up old binoculars that I'm looking for. I did not do well.
It's very dark, and you pull out, it's a single piece of a pair of binoculars, and you use it almost like a telescope, and you scan the horizon line. You were hopeful that the moonlight would allow you to see more, but it's just too dark, Digger.
No, I don't want to light new lights.
Without lighting a light, you probably won't be able to see much of anything.
Yeah. Not knowing what's out there, I'm gonna take my time. I know this is not paying attention is what got me into this situation, so I wanna sit here for a minute and see if I can improve on the work that Achira did. Now that I have some time to just be, I can use my first aid kit that I have in my pack to kind of see if I can improve my situation in any small way.
You remove the burlap wrapped bundle that you carry with you, a series of old medical tools, clean bandages, and natural disinfectant that you've collected and put into a small gourd with a cork on it. These are items that you've collected in your home, a small place that's outside of the remains of what was once known as Pittsburgh.
Wish I was there.
You gather your tools together and you begin to go to work. You open up the splint and unwrap the bandages. What you see beneath them concerns you.
Yeah.
The blood, for the most part, has stopped. Thankfully, you were able to stop the bleeding early on. However, the wound, it's almost intensely bright red all the way up your leg. That trap was extremely rusty. You're going to probably need more medical assistance than what you're going to be able to find out in the wild.
Yeah.
Make your first aid roll for me and use your first aid kit. And let's see if you can't buy yourself some time.
1 success. Can I spend a competency point up that to 2?
I'll allow you to spend another competency point to improve your success here.
Make that a 2 successes.
With 2 successes, you are able to bandage this wound in a way that is tight, secure, and clean. While you think that the damage has already been done as far as the rust infection, you are at least certain that you will be able to withstand whatever comes over the course of the next couple of days.
Right.
As long as you keep the wound clean and it doesn't sustain any further damage.
I'll re-splint myself back up and need to find somewhere to stay tonight.
As you begin to think about what your next move is, Digger, there is a very intentional rustle in the underbrush just to your right. What do you do? What is your intention in this moment?
Digger is gonna, to the best of his ability, I'm assuming I'm still sitting on the ground.
You are still on the ground. You have just completed the work that you were administering to yourself. So your bandages are complete now. Your pack is next to you, along with your shovel.
Right. I'm gonna put my hand on the shovel with this spade down and use it to slowly stand myself up as quietly as possible to make it seem like this is just a walking stick.
You carefully and quietly pull yourself up off the ground. And from underneath the brush, you see a pair of dark eyes glimmer in the pale moonlight that surrounds you. And you see the shadowy form of a wolf.
Well, I'm gonna slowly reach into my bag and grab whatever rations food I have and toss it in front of me to the wolf.
You grab a dried squirrel out of your pack and throw it in front of you. It hits the ground. And this wolf now steps out of the shadowy darkness, and you see now in the moonlight gray-white fur. And it's wrapped in bone. Human bones are draped across this wolf as it slowly stalks towards you. You then notice a long leather tether that drapes back into the underbrush from where it came.
Does it look like that tether's attached to anything? Or is it just dragging on the ground?
It seems like it's attached to something.
And I
It's
will
off the
grab
ground just a bare inch.
my bag and slowly start stepping backwards. But trying to keep an eye for more bear traps. But doing my best to I don't want to look away from the wolf either, so I'm in a sticky situation.
The wolf stalks forward very slowly towards you and steps on your offering as it continues to lock eyes with you, never looking away. A second pair of eyes appear in the underbrush as a second wolf appears next to the first with the same tether wrapped in human bones that are draped across it. A rib cage is wrapped around this wolf's rib cage, and the clatter of what look like finger bones drape beneath it.
Yeah, I fucking hate this place.
You're slipping backwards slowly. Do you continue to walk slowly backwards?
I'm gonna put my pack back on my back,
Mm-hmm.
and as soon as I've got that secured, take my shovel in both hands and turn and start using it like a crutch and move as fast as I can away from this, because hoping that those leather straps are going to stop them from following me at some point.
As you turn, Digger, you see a silhouette behind the wolves. It looks like a human standing between them. But you turn and you start moving and you start pulling yourself away.
If I see that person, before I start running, I say, look, I don't mean you any harm, and I'm just trying to get out of your territory.
The figure is maybe 50 or 60 feet away from you, further down this rocky outcropping that leads down into more forest. The two wolves have made it closer to you. They're probably only about 40 feet away. These straps you see now are tethered to this person.
Right.
And they're covered in this skin coat with fur across their neck and a hood that is draped over their face. And they step out of the trees and they lower their hood. And you see a dirty and worn face that has only ever known the wild places of the world. And the eyes that meet your eyes look to you to be the same as the wolves. You're saying words, and you know this individual hears you, but you don't think they care.
Right.
And as they step into the moonlight, Digger, you see this dirty face. It's a woman. And she is covered in years of dirt and grime from the wilderness. There are leaves and bones that are worked within her mangled hair. And her dark eyes meet yours as you raise your hands, and she growls. And as she opens her mouth, even from here, you see a network of scars across her face. What do you do?
Looks like we're not going to get along. So I'm going to not make any sudden moves. I'm going to get out of here. And I apologize for any perceived slight. And I just start keeping an eye over. I start backing up again, taking my shovel with me, and I'm keeping an eye over, and I'm kind of walking sideways, kind of using my shovel, but keeping an eye on her, but just kind of looking back because I don't want to be caught unaware if she lets those wolves go.
Make a composure roll for me, please.
Will do. 1 success.
You manage to calmly and carefully start pulling yourself away. Your opponent, Digger, is very slow. You don't think she's prepared to charge you, but she clearly is blocking your pathway. You think she's pushing you back. She and the wolves slowly follow you. As you continue slowly to pull yourself, do you ever break contact with them?
I think as soon as I run, that's going to signal the chase, and I can't have a chase. I can't run, so I'm going to just... I don't break... I keep moving as calmly as I can, keeping them in my sight, but trying to find a way to just travel through this place and find a place maybe I can hole up that maybe they can't go or won't go.
The shaft of your shovel hits the ground, and it hits it again. One single painful step at a time, you pull yourself back up this cliffside, back towards the road that you left, back towards the cabin.
Right.
One painful step at a time, you pull yourself. And your opponent, she continues. She doesn't get much closer, but now you can see that when she moves, there's a fluid, almost graceful manner to her. She slinks just like the wolves. And then you notice her hands. Her fingers have all been amputated down to the knuckles. And there are sharp, jagged-looking claws that have been embedded in them. At first, you thought she had her fists clenched, but now you see that she has turned her hands into sharp and deadly weapons.
Good. I would don't want to make an assumption here, but I would assume this is location hazard, correct?
You are indeed in a location hazard.
Right, so I'll add those 2 competency points. You're right, so what's the hands you got there? So I know at this point I realize I'm heading back to the cabin, so I'm just gonna... Being back at the cabin is better than nothing, even though I know it's in the territory I don't want to be in. So I'm gonna head back there.
Make a lift pull as you continue to drag yourself through the woods, hoping to stay further and further away from this opponent.
Now, because I'm using my shovel, could I add my slashing to my lift pull?
No.
I was 90% sure you were going to say that.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I will, however, if you have a modifier for the shovel itself that is not a modifier for slashing,
right,
I will allow you to use it for the quality of the equipment itself.
Okay. So that the modifier would be 3 for that. Or so no, the modifier for the equipment itself. That is
it's at least a 2 times modifier.
It might be a modifier.
Yeah. So you have a 2 times modifier for this because of the quality of the shovel and your familiarity with it. You can continue to pull yourself along. The shovel has been your weapon and your tool and a stalwart companion to you during your time in the apocalypse. I feel that this is fair, don't you?
I do.
Your lift pull is 5 degrees of failure.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to use some competency points to fix that.
With 5 degrees of failure, it is catastrophic until you remove at least 2 of them.
Yeah, so I will, I'm going to remove 2.
With 3 degrees of failure, the hunter, she catches up. Not quite to striking distance, but she is now a mere 20 feet away from you. And in the speckled moonlight that is cast through the trees, you can see her even more clearly. There are scars across her body, the flesh that you can see. She's covered in these filthy, heavily worn clothes that are more like animal skins, but you know the coat is made of human flesh that has been stitched together, because you can see the faces that are across the front of it, all of them in these permanently screaming, locked positions on the outside of this coat. And as she moves closer to you, she stops, and you can see that your bandage is weeping blood. With her hand, she runs it across the slick grass, taking your blood and then bringing it up to her mouth. She opens her mouth in front of you. And you see... Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, well, you got that terrifying thing down to a T, don't you?
Digger, as she opens her mouth and growls at you, you see that her tongue has also been amputated.
Well, I'm now focusing on trying to get back to this cabin, so at least I can put some form of a door or wall between me and this person who wants to eat me.
You are very close to being caught at this point, and it is clear that this hunter is toying with you.
Yeah, I feel it.
Digger, I need you to make one final roll to determine if you make it all the way to the cabin or not. And I want to be clear.
Right.
If you fail this roll as badly as you failed the last roll, I don't know that you're going to make it.
That's fair.
I will allow you to make a choice. You can make a lift pull.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can attempt to make a balance check and try to run the rest of the way.
I'll make a balance check. I'm better at that.
So be it.
All right. Make this.
Given the successes that you've made already with your medical and the attention and care that you've put into your foot, your familiarity with your shovel, I am going to forego any sort of difficulty and position to you for this roll.
Right.
However, Digger, you've got 3 degrees of failure.
I do. How many competency points can I spend in a single go?
That is typically up to the game master. I have made the exception many times on Rag and Bone that I will allow you to spend whatever you have within reason. So what would you like to spend?
I'd like to spend 5.
I will allow it. It brings you to 2 degrees of success and allows you to charge your way up the last of this incline onto the road and to the open area in front of the cabin. Since you have spent 2 and it is 2 degrees of success, I will also allow you to do so in a way that doesn't alert the presence of everyone who's on the other side of this grove of trees as you burst out of it.
Will be lovely.
Meanwhile, Lampwick, Kusanagi. Outside of the cabin, you are standing there. Describe to me what each of you are doing. The others, Rowan, Faith, and Omar, have made their way into the cabin to try and clear it so that the rest of you might enter and use it as a sanctuary for the night. The hope is that your opponents, the people that are hunting you, will at least be slowed by the walls that it offers. You know already that this place has been trapped and that these hunters have some association with this place. But it is your hope that it may offer you sanctuary for the night. What are the two of you doing as you're standing here?
Last I recall, I was outside and in conversation with Achira with Kusanagi near, and I think I recall we were kind of looking out, knowing that we could have been followed here, and for a while I've been trying to keep my eyes out on the just in the distance to see if I notice any movement or if we're being followed. So I think I would just kind of be listening for what might be around us and waiting for Rowan to give us a signal to go back inside.
Fair enough. What about Kusanagi?
Kusanagi is wearing his skin cloak that was recovered in a previous encounter that Lampwick gave to him. And like he's kind of revolted by it, but he's also like kind of fascinated with the degree of, 'cause I know a little bit about leatherworking and those sort of things, and like this has been made like there's a tradition here of like tanning and leatherworking that's been applied to this. So on the one hand, yes, there's like, oh, that looks like a bit of lip or a bit of eyebrow or something. Like it's horrifying, but in a way, I also have a kind of respect for this stuff, and I'm kind of zoning out on the craftsmanship of it. I'm trying to learn more about who these people are who are hunting us based on their craft, based on the things that they make. I don't want to distract Lampwick because I know that we're supposed to be looking out, and I know a big part of that is listening. But I really want to also kind of like have a conversation with him. Now that we have this time. So I'm kind of looking over at him to see like what his level of awareness is and when it would be safe to maybe whisper a conversation.
So let's do that. And there are two things I'll have each of you do. First of all, Lampwick, I'm going to have you make a spot listen. And Kusanagi, I'm going to have you make a survival check with this. There's no heavy consequence to this roll. This is so that you might gain some understanding of the culture of the individuals that have made the coat that you are wearing. Yeah, Kusanagi, this is a bit beyond you unless you wish to spend some competency points.
No, I mean, I feel like it's just so alien to me, to be able to treat flesh this way, when it's from your own species, but just treat it like a product. And I'm just like going over in my mind, like what kind of disconnect would people have to see, the skin and fat and muscle and all this stuff as a product, as something that has to be recycled into things. And I'm just kind of like not really prepared for it.
I'd say that because of the amount of failures that you've rolled 5 degrees. I would say let's have you make a composure roll as well. Do you feel like that's fair?
Yeah.
the coat is currently on you, and you're looking down at the stitching, and you're staring at a entire human face that is stitched on one of the sleeves. And you have 5 degrees of failure on your composure roll as well. Now, there is one benefit. You are currently in a formation with Lampwick, which allows you a little morale bonus here.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is, Lampwick, can you please make a detect motive check for me?
Yeah. That definitely tracks even with my one spot listen failure that I got. I was gonna put some competency points in, but I think like if something's happening with Kusanagi and Lampwick, who is as interested in people, and that's the person that's right in front of me, I think that would draw all of my attention immediately away from my surroundings and onto him.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think that you've stopped kind of paying attention to everything else around you, and you notice that Kusanagi might be spiraling. And make that detect motive, and I'll tell you more.
Mm.
All right. Is there anything that you want to do here, Lampwick? You have 3 degrees of failure.
I think detect motives. I mean, I'm not sure. What makes sense to me is, since I haven't been around Kusanagi, and I have actually tried to find moments to engage him, and we've had a couple of moments, but I don't feel like I've gotten I don't think I've gotten a strong enough sense of him. So I'm gonna let this ride, and I'm gonna go up to him and try to figure out what's going on. But I think it makes sense that I wouldn't have a strong read on him. Based on what he's doing, I might try to calm him down, but I think it actually makes sense that I don't actually get him yet.
Here's what I'm going to say. Alquin, I'm going to impose a disadvantage on Kusanagi for further sensory rolls as long as you're wearing this coat. You are distracted. You're not able to focus, and you're constantly thinking about the morbidity of the coat itself and the fact that you are sheathed in dead human beings. And so you're at the brink of potentially losing it. But I'm going to allow you to roleplay that, and I'm going to leave you and Lampwick to explore your relationship with each other in this moment. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I leave you to it. You're in the trees are surrounding you. You've got a spackle of moonlight that kind of stretches out in front of you. It's very quiet in the cabin. The others, Rowan and Faith and Omar, have just entered in. Achira has quietly begun to scout the area, and she's, while still in your line of vision, is not communicating to either of you. She's about 50 feet away, scouring the tree line for any sign of these hunters.
Lampwick.
Wait. Shh. What's going on? What?
I've been thinking about the people who are chasing us, and I thank you for giving me this, but I don't know that we're going to be able to pass any sort of scrutiny.
Hey, look,
of being like them.
Kusanagi, it doesn't. Whatever little edge we can get is worth it, and you're worth trying to keep alive. So,
but that's the thing, is it's going to buy us, if anything, seconds. We don't know their rituals. They may not even have the same language as us. Like, and I mean, what if like I'm not supposed to be wearing it? Like, what if like these are their kills, and like they represent something to the person who had it?
Okay, wait. Hold on. Slow down.
I just like, hold on. Let's like humans are like Well, I mean, we're still animals technically, right?
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
but like we use tools and stuff like that.
Mhm.
They use tools to make this, so it's got to have some sort of significance to them. And I'm worried, like this is probably a small group, right? It's a
Mhm.
small group that's going to very easily recognize. The
All right.
smaller your tribe is, the more you recognize the
Hey,
people within it. And it's just like
Kusanagi, I
I don't
totally
think I
get
can
it.
wear this lamp. Like I can't
Come on,
wear
come on,
this
come on, come on,
thing.
come on. Come here, come here. Let me take it. I'm gonna start to gently take this off of him. And I'm gonna say, look, I get it. I see exactly what you're saying. This could very easily make you more of a target. And I'm gonna start to kind of like wrap it up. Hey,
Okay, and I don't think you should wear it either.
I won't.
But I mean,
If
but like if we get confronted, maybe it's like a trophy or something that you can show them that you. I think these people are only going to respect strength.
right, you are absolutely right. And you know what? That's exactly what I'm gonna do, Kusanagi. And that's why we keep you here. That's why we're glad to have you here because you got the brains more than anybody. I'm gonna wrap that thing up.
I don't know if I do out here though. Like this is like everything that I have is all about like using technology. And these people they've got technology, but it's like it's alien to me. It's
You
alien
have the
technology. These people aren't
radio.
human anymore.
Kusanagi, you've been working on the radio and that's been working. Now, don't turn it on right now. We don't want to give anything away, but you've been kicking ass. So just calm down, just breathe. I'm
Listen,
gonna stay right
you
here
don't need to
with
flatter me. Like, listen, I understand what you're trying to do, and we can be level with each other. I know that I'm not the right person for this sort of situation. And to be honest, I really don't think you are either. I
Oh
think you're going
no,
to try
I'm
to
not.
you so let's shore up our strengths, all right? Like you can't give these people what they want. You don't have it. So when we confront them, which we will, all we can do is we can't try to pretend to be them. We just have to be something other to them. If they're using this kind of fear on us, we can use it on them. We can be alien to them. So we need to be strong and we need to be something that they don't totally understand so that they take a moment and so that they hesitate. And when we hesitate, that's when the heavy hitters can come in. People like Achira and Faith and all those people can just get in there and go to town. But all we can do is buy time. And maybe seconds, but that's all we can do.
You've given me an idea. I'm gonna start to look around to see if I can find where my guard is, my mask wearing shepherd guard.
Yes, the sentinel that has been following you, one of two that have been with you now since the Citadel, since you were tasked by the shepherds to go and broker an arrangement with Rowan. That sentinel is standing off to the distance, just about 20 feet away from you, and staring at you. Saying, of course, nothing, as you have never heard this individual speak. They are standing guard, and they're looking out. They were looking at you, but then you'll see every once in a while they'll turn and scan across the horizon line.
I'm going to, and I'm going to say to Kusanagi, well, if there's anything that perhaps could be more unsettling and frightening than these people that are trying to eat us, it might be something like him over there.
But his loyalty is to you, right? It's not to some higher ideology, which these people might be a more effective adaptation of, right? I mean, I've heard a lot of things about the shepherds. I've heard that they want to live with the Romeros, and maybe I worry that this shepherd is gonna his individual loyalty might be occluded by his divine purpose of seeing a supreme predator in action.
I think, and I can be wrong, but I think he is gonna try to not let them get to us.
Do you know
Kusanagi,
what you are supposed to mean to them, to the shepherds? Do you are you privy to whatever divine purpose it
I
is that
am.
they have for you?
I
Are you
am.
a sacrifice to them? Do you
I'm
even know
not.
that?
I do know that. I know that they are interested in you, Kusanagi.
That
And
makes me feel
Achira.
so much worse.
It should make you feel a lot better, because that means that that guy over there is watching you too. And maybe the skin cloak isn't what you should be wearing. I get it. But, and I'm going to go into my backpack, and I'm going to, I know I gave one of these away, but I'm going to look to see if I have another one of those masks in there. And if I find one, because I gave one already, a cloak and a mask. I gave one to someone at the Citadel, the strange girl that I encountered. But if I find another mask in there, then I'm going to offer it to Kusanagi. Look, maybe this is what you might want to wear.
How many survival points do you have?
I have 120.
If you give me 20 of them, I'll give you an additional mask.
I will take it. Look,
Lampwick, I don't want this. This is...
Listen. Just hear me out. I'm going by what you said. Let's give them something that might be unsettling. They've seen him in action. And if they think that there's more of them with us, then let's become that fear.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that doesn't make more sense. But I'd also like to do just a sort of inventory check of what weapons we do have. Because, I mean, hopefully these people have been stranded out here for a while. They're probably using melee weapons.
They've been using the bows and the arrows. I haven't heard them fire any guns.
All right. So what guns do we still have?
I have the pistol, and I pull that out, and I have my spear, my Citadel spear. A number of us still have guns.
Nox, which guns does Kusanagi still have? I had 3 pistols when I left the Citadel.
You have everything that you had before. So
Okay.
all of the weaponry that was on your sheet before you left is still with you. You packed it up. For the most part, Kusanagi, you've stayed pretty much
Okay, actually, then I think I have 4 pistols. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
I want to take 2 of my pistols and 1 reload for each of them, and give them to Lampwick.
All right. You do so.
So you should have 2 pistols now.
Okay.
I mean, if anything, I think, I mean, I don't know how good a shot you are, but like, I think the noise and a lot of that stuff and the psychological effect, because I mean, to them, these things are probably mythical weapons, you know? So I see what you're doing here with the mask and trying to be like your bodyguard. And we need to deploy all of that at once, and it's got to be shock and awe if we run into anybody.
Which I say, let's do it. When it happens, we have unloaded some shots, and we have turned the headlights of our vehicle on them, and they don't seem to have been affected by what they heard earlier. Even a grenade going off didn't seem to stop them from wanting to hunt us.
I mean, it's very possible that they've accounted for this. If we're the dragons in their mythology, they probably have stories about what the folks in the Citadel can do, folks in Ender's Line.
Right.
But I mean, that's the thing, is it only takes, not everybody is going to have that wherewithal. You know, there's going to be someone who it's their first battle out, that this is a coming of age ceremony for them. We need to identify very quickly where the weak link is, and that is going to be our chance to break through.
And you know what, Kusanagi, now that you bring it up, there was one that ran away. There was one that was scared and fled. So I think you're right.
Make a detect motive roll for me, Lampwick, as you start to think about the situation in retrospect.
Okay. I'll take that, because that makes that 5 successes.
With 5 degrees of success on a detect motive, I will tell you, now that you kind of reassess the entire situation, when you think about what Kusanagi is saying, they never approached you when the gunfire began. when the ATV was present, they always attacked from a distance. They sent animals after you. The animals approached, but they did not. They were all firing at you from the tree line. And then the one, when confronted, did flee.
So I am remembering that mostly right. Great. I will. I point that out to Kusanagi. You know what? You're right. They when facing us and what we're capable of, they send in their pets. And it's when they think that they have an upper hand that they start to come close. But even then, they kept a distance and were firing arrows. We should unleash all we got if we need to. I think you're onto something.
Yeah. And I mean, I also think that this place, this cabin, it isn't like a sacred place to them. I don't think it has value. I honestly think it's just a honeypot, you know?
Yeah.
So, of course, we want to use every element of we can for cover and hunkering down. But if we do get into a confrontation with them, which I gotta say, I feel like it's in the cards, we need to go hard and strong and just utterly obliterate one of them. Like, we need to focus. And yeah, I mean, of course, tactically, we're going to want to try to cover any of our exits or any of those stuff. But I don't really think we have a way to get away.
You know? We got to take them out.
And I think that's the thing is, I think that we may not need to take all of them out. I think if we can take one of them out in so spectacular a way that it will be spoken of them by years to come, we could be that legendary monster. We could be something that was too big to hunt. And that will buy us time. And that's when we can get away.
All right.
Achira turns and shushes both of you. Shh. She turns and quietly moves to the tree line. There's a heavy fog across the pathway between the two of you and her. Then you hear it. Someone is charging through the trees. Digger. You see Achira with her gun pointed at you as you burst out of the tree line.
Whoa. It's me.
When she sees you, damn it, I thought you were leaving.
Yeah. So did I.
Didn't we talk about this? This place, it's not going to do you any good.
Yeah. I wouldn't be here if I didn't have to. There's one of them hunting me. She's got 2 wolves. She's on my trail right the fuck now. I need to get inside.
Lampwick and Kusanagi are over there. Just go. I'll cover you.
She has knife fingers.
But
I don't even know what. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. She just does.
Well, I've got a gun. And she turns and steps into the tree line.
She can't talk either. She has no tongue.
Do you continue further through the pathway up towards the cabin?
Yeah, I just go watch it. She's got 2 wolves. And I head up towards the cabin. I can't do anything to help, so.
Lampwick, Kusanagi, you see Digger. Digger, would you describe yourself in this moment as you limp forward into the space?
Using this heavily reinforced shovel to limp my way up towards the cabin, wearing a heavy coat and a lot of backpack strapped over my shoulders, hood up, very just like really dark colors to blend in, stealth as stealthy as possible, and just covered in mud and bit leaves and branches, and been charging through the brush, heading up the house.
I snap both of the holsters I have across my body open and draw one gun and train it immediately. I can't see that well in the dark. I don't know who's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Do I recognize Digger at all coming in our direction? Is there any of this that is making any sense to me?
Well, you see this figure. You notice the shovel, I think, is a silhouette, even in the fog. And so I think you know it's Digger.
Okay. If I believe it's Digger, because I knew that he was one that wasn't accounted for, I'm gonna kind of put my hand out to Kusanagi. Hold on, I think he's one of us. Hey, Digger,
Yeah.
come this way. Come on.
And I hurry over toward the voice.
I go meet him halfway. If I see that he's limping, I'm gonna try to help.
There is a fairly heavy stream of blood that is following him.
Oh crap. Okay. Come on. You need help. What the fuck happened to you? Kusanagi.
Your leg looks.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And where's Inez? Did she go inside the house as well, or is she out here with us?
She's out with you somewhere, but she was also patrolling the perimeter.
Okay.
So currently it is the three of you with the others that were with you, with the exception of the sentinel that has been assigned to you, Lampwick. That individual is about 20 feet away, but everybody else is scattered out into the tree line right now.
Okay. If this is still bleeding, okay, look, Digger, this is not what I'm good at, but if you
just get me inside, I've got a med kit. I can stop the bleeding.
How far behind you was the person chasing you? How long have we got?
They were they were close.
Okay.
Like 40 feet behind me.
I'm gonna start.
I mean, you're not bleeding. You're not bleeding out right now, are you? Like,
no.
Can you use a ranged weapon?
As well as anybody with no training.
I mean, we could have 30 seconds, 45 seconds. I don't know. Like, Lampwick, I understand that you want to help him, but like,
I'm listening and watching.
We need to be ready.
It was one person following me. She had two wolves with her, but one person. I think she was there to herd anybody back towards the cabin, because that's where she was pushing.
Did they send the wolves on ahead, right? The wolves are
they were on leashes.
Contact? Oh,
they're on leashes. She had no tongue. Scars all over. She had her fingers replaced with hooks. It was wearing a cloak covered in skins, or made of skins. It was a lot to take in, and I am not in any. She did not do this to me. This is a.
All right, let's get inside then. Let's get inside. Everybody inside.
Gonna start moving, and I'm looking around to see if I can see where Achira may have gone, where Inez might be, because they're still on the outside. And I'm. Yeah.
I understand your hesitancy to leave the others behind, Lampwick. Will you please make a spot listen?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You begin to scan the tree line. You look back towards where Inez had left, and some of the others. They've worked their way around the back of the cabin. Achira was in front of you. However, she moved into the tree line, and she was in the direction that Digger came from. With 3 degrees of success, you see Achira in the tree line, at least her silhouette, as she's stalking quietly through the trees. You know that she's very good at not being seen when she's alone, and she chooses to be unseen.
I know her well, and I'm going to do my best to not give away her plan, and I'm going to be a little louder and insisting, all right, let's go in, so that if there's anything that may have noticed her, it kind of gets drawn to my voice.
All right, so you're going to attempt to let others around you, those that are not currently with this group here, to understand that you're making this tactical retreat, but that you're doing so in a way that will help the others to maybe put themselves in an advantageous place.
I'm drawing attention.
Yeah. So what I would like for you to do is, why don't you make a, let's call it a persuade.
All right. All right.
You have 1 degree of success, but you have an ability that changes that, don't you?
I do. That would be 4 degrees of success.
All right. With 4 degrees of success on your persuade, anyone who hears you in the area firmly believes that this is the case, and that you are you're kind of steering everybody, and you've set it at the right level, the right volume, so it echoes around. You're putting on quite a show as the four of you begin making your way back onto the porch of the cabin. And I'm going to go ahead and move us to our tactical map as you move up the steps onto the porch of the cabin itself. And there is a heavy creaking from the boards underneath your feet. It groans heavily. This cabin has stood for many, many years. Nature has reclaimed it in so many ways. There are vines and small sprouts that have sprung up in between every single board. Most of the metal has rusted away long ago. The glass is gone and has completely been shattered many years ago. In its place, however, there are wild drapes of vines, green moss, and other hanging plants that have reclaimed over half of this cabin. From the very center of it, on one side, you can see that a tree has actually sprouted through a portion of this building. The doorway, barely hanging on old hinges, is open and facing into a dark abyss. This is where Rowan, Faith, and Omar left just a short time ago. They had scouted this area out, and as you look into the darkness of this cabin, through the open door, you see no sign of them. There are no lights. There is no movement. There is no sound. We're going to take a short break, and we'll return to discover what awaits you.